Hello, my name is Isabel Fitton and I'll be introducing Dancing with the Avatars, Minimal Avatar Customisation Enhances Learning in a Psychomotor Task, a paper co-authored by Clarke, Jeremy Dalton, Michael Proulx and Christof Lutteroth. This work was conducted at the University of Bath in collaboration with PwC. We often learn how to do something by observing someone else. This is known as observational learning, during which we attend to a person demonstrating the skill and commit this movement pattern to memory, which is usually achieved through rehearsal. The neuroscientific basis for observational learning is thought to lie with mirror neurons, which are active both when we observe and perform a skill. Within virtual environments, this can be achieved using an instructor avatar, who the learner observes and imitates. As you can see, virtual instructors can take on different forms, from simplistic humanoid representations such as stick figures, as shown in the examples on the left, to more realistic avatars. For example, the avatar used to teach karate is dressed in appropriate clothing and wears a black belt, as you might expect from an instructor. This raises the question of whether the avatar's appearance matters to the learner. It is known that observational learning outcomes can be moderated by the level of similarity between the instructor being observed and the learner, possibly due to triggering increased mirror neuron activity. This forms the basis of feed-forward learning, whereby a learner observes a model of themselves performing a skill that they cannot currently. For example, using edited video footage, which has been shown to result in rapid improvements in performance. In consequence, making instructor avatars look like the learner seems promising and has been studied for various forms of learning and behaviour change in virtual environments. Findings show that a high degree of avatar similarity can lead to greater performance, engagement, positive effect, self-efficacy, and intrinsic motivation. However, there are many situations where instructor avatars that closely resemble the learner are not feasible or desirable. Creating instructor avatars with a high resemblance to the learner typically requires specialised hardware or software and/or a time-consuming customization process. Even with these capabilities, any minor defects in the appearance of a self-avatar can become a severe distraction from the learning task. And even should you manage to produce a perfect self-avatar, this would not be suitable as an instructor avatar for all individuals or in all learning situations. Therefore, in this work, we move away from extreme customization and instead focus on producing similar avatars by customizing only 3 basic properties. There is evidence to suggest that mirror neuron activity is thought to increase gradually with similarity, and as such a fully customized self-avatar may not be necessary. We seek to understand whether this minimal avatar customization can enhance learning in virtual environments, whilst mitigating against the concerns with highly self-similar avatars. This forms the basis of research question 1. And secondly, as screen-based observational learning is more ubiquitous, yet the use of VR offers distinct possibilities for enhancing learning, for example through immersion and embodiment, we investigate whether the effects differ when learning from a screen compared to learning in virtual reality. A total of 97 participants took part in one of the display conditions, either the screen-based or immersive VR condition, in which they learned from 2 different avatars, one that looked similar to them and one that didn't. The similar avatars were created by matching participant gender, skin tone, and hair colour, as these are the most visible features which have been previously identified as key for avatar identification. A dissimilar avatar that was of the opposite gender and had differing skin tone and hair colour was assigned to each participant. We chose dance as an example skill to be learned, as it is most commonly taught using observational learning, incorporates a wide variety of upper and lower body movements, and has wide-reaching popularity, forming the basis of many exergames. In our study, participants were tasked with learning 2 different free-move hip-hop dance routines, one demonstrated by each avatar. The routine avatar pairing, so which routine was demonstrated by each avatar, and the order of presentation, i.e. whether the matched feature avatar was seen first or second, was counterbalanced to minimise any potential order effects. Participants were given 3 minutes to observe and rehearse the routine. Those in the screen-based condition watched a video and copied the avatar. Those in the VR condition were immersed in a virtual dance studio and were instructed to copy the instructor avatar in front of them. Participants wore a HTC Vive Proulx head-mounted display and 4 additional Vive trackers located on each wrist and ankle so that their movement controlled the avatar that they embodied. The primary outcome measure in this study was vividness of movement imagery, that is, the ability to imagine specific motor actions. Observational learning contributes to visual movement imagery abilities, which leads to improved performance. Therefore, we use this as an indicator of long-term memory and learning. To measure task-specific imagery, we created the Vividness of Dance Movement Imagery Questionnaire by replacing the generic items of the VMIQ2, for example, imagining swinging on a rope, with dance-specific items. Participants rated how vividly they could imagine the dance routine from an internal perspective, as if looking through their own eyes, an external perspective, as if observing themselves, and a kinesthetic perspective, which is the feeling of doing the movement. For each subscale, the items are averaged to produce a score from 1 to 5, with 1 indicating the most vivid imagery level. We also compared the effects of avatar similarity and display type on measures of intrinsic motivation, perceived competence, avatar similarity and liking, and kinesthetic awareness. We found participants' ability to imagine the dance moves was significantly and meaningfully higher after observing a matched feature avatar, indicating that simple avatar customization can enhance learning outcomes. To contextualise the differences observed, prior work has shown that observing a video of a gymnastics routine 20 times per day for 2 weeks can lead to a 4% improvement in VMIQ2 scores. The improvements observed in this study suggest that manipulating avatar similarity and minimal customisation can produce instant results. Based on this, we believe a more visually self-similar avatar improves task representation in long-term memory, which would contribute to greater performance. These findings are in line with prior work on peer models and feed-forward learning theory, and demonstrate the importance of having representative and relatable avatars. Our results also indicate that matched feature avatars further enhance vividness of imagery in VR, where we observed medium effect sizes compared to the small effect sizes we observed in the screen condition. Based on this, we believe that minimal avatar customization may add more value in immersive virtual environments than in more traditional forms of media, possibly due to being more clearly visible. Of the features that we customized, gender can be considered the most important characteristic, with many participants, especially females, highlighting the importance of having a same-gendered avatar as a relatable model. However, in this study, gender also inferred body type. Participant comments suggest that the avatar's physique, for example body shape, height and age, could be equally important for avatar identification, and if customised, might elicit further meaningful identification which could contribute to the feed-forward effect. Comparatively, rudimentary skin tone and hair colour options proved satisfactory, and participants accepted an uncustomised hairstyle. We have shown that the use and presentation of avatars used to represent an instructor is an important consideration as it can impact learning outcomes. However, minimal avatar customisation is effective and satisfactory. This also has important implications for the design of other virtual applications where avatar type might be impactful, such as exergaming or human data interaction. This basic level of customization can be achieved in a matter of seconds and requires very little time or information from the user, offering a cost-effective enhancement that should be considered for a range of screen-based and immersive applications. Thank you for listening. Please check out our full paper for the details of this research and other results.